Hello, this is ProbableLoss, and I'm going to be back with what would be game number 13. I was going to do another game, but it seems that whatever the cold cast was, because I don't watch them whenever I'm going to do a cold cast, one of them was corrupt. I think it was an Oboe Man game. It was another Oboe Man game, so that would have made 3 games for him. So hopefully he's not that upset that I can't get that third game in, but the reason I was going to cast that one as a cold cast was because it had Baneling drops in the title, and he had done some other Baneling drops, and those were always pretty interesting, so I was going to cast those. But this is going to be a PvP versus Tessalode and MagiQMoon. Tessalode on the left side, spawning as the blue Protoss. MagiQMoon spawning over here on the right as the red Protoss. So, oops, should have hid that. That was my bad. Hopefully no one saw it, because if you did, then you're gonna be like, oh, well, you ruined the game for us, we're never gonna watch you again. But that's cool, because my videos only have like 5 views anyway, so I'm not really gonna miss too much. I want to say another thing about the feedback that I've been getting. A lot of players have been giving me some really good feedback. Really haven't got anything that negative that would be to the point where it's just someone being a blatant asshole. So that's good. Another thing happened. The reason these ones are going to be out a little bit later than the other ones is one of the headpieces on my headset just decided that it was going to fall apart. So I had to duct tape that together at first. I thought I would just buy a new one, but then I figured that's like $80 that I do not have right now. So $2 and some duct tape fixed it up pretty decently. I think my sound still sounds okay. So let's get into the game. I'll talk about PvP on this map a little bit. On Metalopolis, in cross spawns, it's not as terrible. So I wouldn't expect to see very much airplay. In the close spawn distances, a lot of times Protoss will go with a Phoenix opening and do some worker harass. Phoenix is also pretty good against someone going a 3-gate robo, because you can lift up the Immortals, and the Immortals won't be doing any damage, obviously, and your Stalkers can just pick off whatever the other person has. So MagiQMoon stealing a gas here, and then he's just going to lay down another assimilator. And MagiQMoon gets both of his own gases up, so that Tessalode only has his one gas. So we're going to have to see how Tessalode goes into this play. I know a lot of times, one of my friends who plays, he is low to mid-masters, I believe. What he does in any PvP is he will do a single gas steal. And a lot of times he says that will cause the other player to just do a blind 4-gate so that he can open up a 2-gate robo. And 2-gate robo shreds 4-gate in most cases, unless the 4-gate has like charged zealots or something. Then it's just a matter of him getting out some sentries to deal with that. So both players being pretty standard with their build. It doesn't look like either one of them is going to go at like an obnoxious 4-gate. Tessalode doesn't seem to be doing all that much, even though his gas was stolen. I wouldn't imagine a 4-gate coming from him. If he was going to go for a 4-gate, he would probably put down his 4th gate right now, but since he's not, I would not expect a 4-gate. If he did, that would be a really late timing. And MagiQMoon goes to 2-gate robo. Probably going to add on a 3rd gate eventually, or he could expand right off this 2-gate robo. Either way, it's pretty standard play for a Protoss to do either one of those builds. MagiQMoon goes 3-gate robo, so he's probably going to be looking to put on some pressure. I don't know about doing a 3-gate robo with only having this one gas up. He really, yeah, you can see he's only collected about 350 gas, which isn't enough to support 3 gateways and a robotics bay, unless you're getting out nothing but Zealot Immortal, which can be very powerful against Stalkers, but if MagiQMoon gets any sort of sentries, the Zealots in his Unicom position will be useless, and since Tessalode has actually already got his own sentry and 2 Stalkers, once this finishes, he might not even be able to get out an Immortal of his own. So MagiQMoon should be in pretty good shape going into this game. And MagiQMoon has a probe right here. Probably getting ready to maybe set up a pylon. Actually, no. now that I look at it, probably not. He's probably going to be saving up to expand down here anytime now. I doubt he would be going for any sort of timing push just because he only has these 2 gates and the 1 robotics. But even if he did decide to go for a timing push, that would not matter because Tessalode is the one who is going to be pushing out. Pushing out with 3 Zealots, Sentry, and 3 Stalkers. This will be easily stopped by MagiQMoon, who has a far greater army than he does. Well, I shouldn't say far greater. The army value for Tessalode, they're really about the same, but the army composition is what matters. And MagiQMoon definitely has the advantage in this case, just because of that early Vespene lead that he had. Tessalode also is floating a lot of minerals. I should have said MagiQMoon has the lead back there, but I think I screwed up my words. If MagiQMoon can get out this other Immortal before Tessalode's army gets there, he will definitely be in great shape. He's probably just going to, if he can force field this ramp, and going to lose a Stalker right there. Pretty bad move on Tessalode's part. A lot of times, in any matchup where the other person is likely to have units with high range, like against a Terran or a Protoss, on this map, you need to stay over here. If you come over here, that other player is just going to have some free pot shots. And laying down a pretty good force field, letting those Zealots get in there and doing tons of damage. Really bad placement on MagiQMoon's part. Fighting in the choke, and yeah, normally fighting in the choke against melee units is okay, but he managed to get all of those units firing at once. So he was able to pick off an Immortal as well as several Stalkers. If you look at the units lost, you can tell just how bad that engagement was on MagiQMoon's part. I think it would be wise for Tessalode to move out. He's really evened up his losses here, but loses a Sentry. I would not engage here if I were Tessalode. Probably going to lose that Zealot unnecessarily. I was right. Tessalode should have waited for that Immortal to come out. He actually, or no, that's MagiQMoon's Immortal that's coming out. Both players, actually, I would give Tessalode the edge right now. He now has an army advantage. He has, does he have a tech advantage going into this? No, he does not. Neither player is really teching to any form, anything past just standard robotics. But MagiQMoon is going to be putting down his expansion. I think Tessalode should be doing the same thing. The timing is getting rather late to be... I mean, if you're at 10 minutes and 30 seconds, you're probably already sort of all in with your attack. But it doesn't look like Tessalode is actually trying to deal any damage, so he needs to expand. He's getting out his second Immortal right now, checking the Units tab, and then checking the Army tab. We can see that Tessalode is slightly ahead in the unit composition. MagiQMoon coming down here, not scouting any Nexus. So he's probably feeling pretty comfortable with his own Nexus. If MagiQMoon were to put on any pressure, he might be able to crush this army, but I think Warp-ins from MagiQMoon would prevent Tessalode from doing any more damage because his pylon is so far back. Tessalode has an Observer in a really odd location. Is he working for Blink, is my question. Tessalode is going to be going probably for Blink so that he can blink up here using this Observer. My guess is he's just trying not to reveal that he has this Observer, or that he just misclicked. He probably has the rally point to the robotics base, or the robotics facility set right there. So that's probably what happened with that. Where is his other Immortal? Right there doing absolutely nothing. Needs to get that Immortal in on this engagement before he goes. The Zealots for Tessalode in bad positioning. The force field's pretty, actually not doing all that much for either side. Tessalode decides to push forward again, letting those Zealots suicide, not the wisest move. So MagiQMoon able to pull ahead in the units lost tab right there due to an unfavorable engagement on Tessalode's part. After seeing those force fields go down, he should have just backed out. Anytime you are down Immortals in a Stalker Immortal Zealot fight, and the other person has force fields so that your Immortals can only fire at Zealots, you want to back out of that engagement because Zealots do not, or Immortals do not do good damage versus Zealots. And that was very apparent in that fight. MagiQMoon getting his first Colossi. Where is that Colossi? Right here. Probably going to look to do some just early damage if he tries to move out into this region. So actually pretty good positioning there on MagiQMoon's part. Tessalode is still just sitting up here at his proxy, leaving this base totally open. MagiQMoon is going to have a pretty big economic lead soon, I would imagine. He really needs to keep getting out those probes. He he definitely needs to take some more off of here and send them down to here to get the natural saturated. Normally you want the natural to be more saturated than the main, unless both are completely saturated, and in this case he is almost completely saturated at the main and nowhere near saturated at the natural. So that's not good probe splitting on MagiQMoon's part. We'll see if that has a role to play later on. Sometimes it does, because you can get mined out in this base, and then this base gets crushed, and then what do you do from there? Your bases run out. So waiting for the blink up. How close is blink to being done? Actually not that close. I don't know what Tessalode was thinking with this timing. Definitely not good timing. Should have waited to get more stalkers out so he could blink. Yeah, blink is not going to be done in time for it to be used in this engagement at all, but it still looks like Tessalode might have an advantage here, but those immortals for MagiQMoon just going to town. This Colossi finally get into a good position to do some damage and are now just picking away at Tessalode. Tessalode has made some pretty poor decisions as far as moving out. He didn't wait for blink to finish, which is a huge blunder, really. If he had pushed out while he had blink, he could have blinked up on the cliff, picked off those Colossi, and this would have been a very different engagement. But now we just see MagiQMoon crushing through everything that Tessalode has, blinking back to save these 3 stalkers. But that will not be enough. Definitely won't be enough. Tessalode has been so focused on what's going on in the battle, he just now comes back to the base and only sends 6 probes down to mine from the natural, which again is not enough. And MagiQMoon could have pushed out there, but I honestly think that what he did was the better choice, because when he sent that probe up there the last time, his expansion was already about half done. So when he sent his probe up here, he scouted and he saw that there was nothing. So MagiQMoon should be pretty comfortable in knowing that he just removed any threat of Tessalode hitting by destroying this pylon. He knows that Tessalode doesn't have anything else anywhere on the map, and he knows that he has an economic advantage. So he's really being smart here, because Tessalode has wasted 2 good opportunities to push out. Once, whenever those force fields, the first time the force fields forced a bad engagement for Tessalode, but he kept pressing and then lost a ton of units. And then again right there before he had blink, MagiQMoon is not following in those bad mistakes and is just waiting for a more favorable time. And that should be coming soon, because he is now just massing up units while Tessalode is trying to get back in the game economic-wise and is not building up a very large army. So we can see that MagiQMoon has nearly double the size, not quite double, but nearly double. And whenever you have Colossus, it might as well be double, because Colossus are just so good in this matchup. They're good in any matchup, especially when your opponent has no Colossi in a PvP, because everyone knows that this becomes War of the Worlds, Colossus Wars, whatever you want to call it, where it's just whoever has the most Colossus usually wins. And being that MagiQMoon has 3 and Tessalode has none, looks like MagiQMoon could take the game right here, unless there is some epic blink micro. And guess what? I am seeing absolutely no blink micro at all. Force field splitting up Tessalode's army. It doesn't really matter though. MagiQMoon is just going to plow straight through, and MagiQMoon has won the game. What I think the loss came down to, early I checked the units lost tab, and you could see how much damage Tessalode did with the initial attack on this ramp, because MagiQMoon was in an awkward position. So then Tessalode pushed back here again, and it was awkward for Tessalode, but he kept pressing, and then he lost a ton of units, and then he lost a ton of units in a second engagement, and then from there he just couldn't make up that unit deficit, the income deficit that he was at. Things were just not going in Tessalode's favor. So if you're going to take anything away from this game, it would just be that make sure the attacks you're doing are smart attacks. Make sure that they're not just attacks for the sake of attacking. Make sure that you have a time that you want to attack, so that you're not just throwing units away. So with that, I'm going to sign off, and I will be back with another game in a few minutes. Adios.